Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining me. When we look at the world today, it's so easy to feel, well, completely overwhelmed by the challenges we're facing. And for people of faith, that reality brings up a huge question. What is the church's role in all of this? What are we actually called to do? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful, faith-based framework for action.
To really get a sense of the scale here, let's just start with some numbers. This one, 170,000. That's how many people were killed in conflict zones in 2023 alone. Just think about that. 170,000 lives. It's a staggering reality that just demands a response.
And the suffering isn't just happening in far-off war zones. 35%. That's the percentage of women and girls around the world who experience violence in their lifetime. That's more than 1 in every 3. It's a crisis that hits close to home, in every single community.
And beyond violence, there's a crisis of just basic human needs. This number is just unbelievable to me. 50% of the world's population, half, still doesn't have access to essential services. We're talking about things like healthcare, clean water, things many of us just take for granted. Half the people on our planet are being left behind.
So when you're faced with numbers like these, with these realities, the question becomes incredibly personal, doesn't it? In a world with such deep, profound suffering, what is our call? This isn't some abstract theological debate. It's a direct challenge to our very purpose.
So where do we even begin? Well, a Christian think tank called Transbilbica has a really powerful answer. They've put together a framework that isn't based on optional charity, but on what they call kingdom concerns, a direct, biblical mandate for the church to get its hands dirty and actively engage with the world's biggest problems.
So what exactly are these kingdom concerns? Well, there are 5 core areas where the Bible calls for direct action. This framework says that social transformation isn't some side project or an optional extra for the church. No, it's absolutely central to the whole mission.
So here they are, the 5 pillars: peace, security, justice, governance, and the environment. Now, what's really important here is that these aren't separate issues to be tackled one by one. They're all interconnected. They're different sides of a single, unified call to action. So let's break each one down.
Let's start with the first 2, because they are so deeply tied together: peace and security. You can think of it like this. One is about proactively building harmony, and the other is about defending the vulnerable from harm.
You see, the mandate for peace is active. It's not passive. This verse from Matthew isn't "blessed are the peace-loving," it's "blessed are the peacemakers." That calls for the really hard work of building bridges, of stepping into conflict and actually trying to resolve it.
So what does this look like on the ground? Well, to build peace, the church's role is to make sure its leaders have real, tangible peace-building skills. And that's a goal Transbiblica supports with direct training programs. Then, for security, the mandate is to defend the dignity of the vulnerable. In practice, that means making sure every woman is aware of gender-based violence. And Transbiblica actually provides the tools and modules to have those critical conversations in places like women's fellowships.
Okay, so once you have a foundation of peace and security, you need the systems to uphold them, right? And that's where the next 2 concerns come in: justice and governance. This is all about creating fairness for those on the margins and promoting responsible leadership at every level of society.
This verse from Proverbs it cuts right to the heart of what biblical justice is all about. It's not some abstract legal concept. It's a real, practical concern for the well-being of the poor and the oppressed. It's actually a measure of what it means to be righteous.
So how do we put this into action? The mandate for justice calls for something pretty radical: for the church to dedicate a full 1/3 of its resources to those in need. Transbiblica helps churches get there by guiding them in forming social action committees. And for governance, the focus is on the next generation. It's about ensuring young people are actively engaged in solving their community's problems, and Transbiblica supports that with practical guidance and mobilization tools for youth groups.
All right, now for the final piece of this puzzle. The framework's last concern expands the mission to our relationship with the planet itself. It's the biblical mandate for what we call creation care or environmental stewardship.
And you know what? This isn't some new, trendy idea. This is one of the very first instructions given in the entire Bible. The call to protect our environment is a foundational mandate. It positions us not as owners of creation, but as its caretakers.
And this mandate is defined by clear, doable action. The church's role here starts with a really tangible goal: stop using single-use plastics. Think about that. It's a powerful, symbolic, and deeply practical first step, and Transbilbica helps make it a reality by mobilizing church leadership to take that pledge and by providing the training to follow through. Okay, so we've seen the what, right? We've walked through the 5 kingdom concerns. But the really big question is, how? How does this vision actually become a reality on the ground? This is where we get into the strategy for how you, me, all of us can play a role.
Transbiblica's strategy is this really smart 3-part approach. First, it's about coaching the next generation of leaders. Second, it's about facilitating action right there in local churches. And third, it's about partnering with other agencies to make a bigger impact together. It's a model designed to empower change from the grassroots all the way up.
And this is where it really connects back to you. I mean, are you someone who's just passionate about social transformation? Transbiblica can connect you with other people who share that fire. Or maybe you're a development professional. It can help you facilitate a deeper reflection on Scripture with your peers. And if you're a church leader or a pastor, it gives you the actual tools you need to mobilize your whole church. You see? There's a role for everyone.
So the invitation here is really personal and direct. It's a call for churches, for individuals, to step into this mandate, not on your own, but equipped and supported. This is all about moving from just having a good idea to making a real impact, from being concerned to taking concrete action. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about: to walk humbly with God by doing justice and loving mercy in a world that so desperately needs it. If this mission resonates with you, if this is something that stirs in your heart, then the journey can start right now. Connect, get involved, and be a part of the transformation.